In the differentiation of telencephalic vesicles, till now we have seen the development of various lobes and poles of cerebral hemisphere, development of lateral ventricle, its choroid fissure, and the development of corpus striatum. Now we will discuss the development of definitive cortex in the form of archipallium, paleopallium, and neopallium. As you all know, except the choroid fissure, the part of the wall of the cerebral hemisphere become thick and form the pallium. Initially, the cells of pallium are arranged in three zones: ependymal, mental, and marginal zone. Afterward, cells of mental zone and ependymal zone migrate outward into the marginal zone and form the definitive cortex. The migration of cells first takes place in the region of archipallium, that is hippocampus. Then it takes place in the region of paleopallium, that is near the piriform area on the inferior surface, and lastly in the region of neopallium, that is the remaining part of pallium except hippocampal formation and paleopallium. A strip of cortex first differentiates on the medial surface of cerebral hemisphere just outside the curve of choroid fissure. This constitutes the archipallium or hippocampal formation. It passes anteriorly in front of lamina terminalis, which is known as pre-terminal area, and then become continuous with the piriform area. Posteriorly, it grows along with the line of choroid fissure and then along with the inframedial surface of the temporal lobe. Finally, it makes a projection on the floor of the inferior horn of lateral ventricle. That projection is known as hippocampus. Some of the cells of hippocampal formation migrates outward from the mental zone into the marginal zone and presents a crenated surface shape structure which is known as dentate gyrus. The upper part of hippocampal formation gets regressed, it becomes vestigial and persists in adults as indusium graecium, which consists of two longitudinal bands of fibers known as longitudinal stria, medial and lateral longitudinal stria. The part of the hippocampal formation next to the hippocampus and dentate gyrus forms the gyrus fasciolaris, or it is also known as splenial gyrus. The nerve fibers arising from the hippocampus forms the fimbria and fornix, which terminates anteriorly into this elevation known as mammillary body. A few fibers of this fornix cross the midline and form a structure known as hippocampal commissure, designated as HC, hippocampal commissure. Somewhat later, another area overlying this corpus striatum differentiates into paleopallium. It persists in adult as uncus and this parahippocampal gyrus, which receives the fibers from the olfactory tract. The remaining part of pallium, except the hippocampal formation and paleopallium, forms the neopallium. Initially, the surface of the hemisphere remains smooth. During fourth month, a depression appears on the superolateral surface of hemisphere. This depression is known as lateral sulcus, which corresponds with the position of corpus striatum. The submerged gyrus at the bottom of the lateral sulcus forms the insula, which is also known as hidden lobe. The subsequent growth of the surrounding lobes will form the opercular covering of the insula. The cingulate sulcus, parieto-occipital sulcus and calcarine sulcus, as well as central sulcus, all these sulci make their appearance by 6 months, and by the 7th month all the important sulci and gyri become evident. So the surface area of the cerebral cortex becomes the enormous. 2/3 of this area are occupied by various sulci and the remaining 1/3 area occupied by the gyri. Sulci are the depressions and the gyri are the elevations. In the region of archipallium and paleopallium, cortical tissue differentiates into 3 layers, whereas in the neopallium, cortical tissue differentiates into 6 different layers. In the motor cortex, there is predominance of the pyramidal cells, so it is also known as agranular cortex, whereas in case of sensory cortex, there is a predominance of granular cells, that's why it is also known as granular cortex. Lastly, we will discuss the development of principal commissures of brain. 3 principal commissures develop in the region of lamina terminalis. These are anterior commissure, commissure of fornix and corpus callosum. Among these 3, anterior commissure is first to develop during the 3rd month in the ventral part of the lamina terminalis. This anterior commissure connects the olfactory tract as well as lower and anterior part of the temporal lobes of both the cerebral hemisphere. Next to develop is the commissure of fornix, which occupy the dorsal part of lamina terminalis and constitute 2 types of fiber. The commissural fiber, which connect the hippocampal formation of both the cerebral hemisphere, and the projection fiber, which connect hippocampus with the mammillary body in the same cerebral hemisphere. Corpus callosum is the largest commissure of the neopallium, which develops during 10th week and occupies the dorsal part of lamina terminalis just rostral to the commissure of fornix. It is at first in the rudimentary form. As the fiber grows, it first arches forward and then it arches backward. Thus it gets differentiated into the rostrum, genu, trunk or body and splenium. Stretching of the splenial fiber leads to the development of parieto-occipital sulcus, and the part of lamina terminalis which is stretched between the corpus callosum and fornix forms the septum pellucidum.